Hello everybody, welcome to this Amplitube 4 demo, which I'm going to do because it's funny, this lockdown thing. All of the things that I said I was going to do, I'm now doing. Hello from Switzerland, hello from England, nice to hear from you. Yeah, all of this stuff that I said that I was going to do, it's taken global lockdown to get me round to doing it. So I hope you can hear me, I hope you can see me. The microphone seems to be coming through loud and clear if I continue to look at the camera. So let's have a look at what we've got. Amplitube 4. This is the software that I use pretty much exclusively on all of my recordings for the last 10 years. It's the go-to for me. There are others, of course. Can't deny that there are others, but this is the one that I've been using. I find it very easy and straightforward to use. I'm not going to be making a big 2-hour thing of this. I'm just going to go through basically the settings that I use, how I get to them, and a couple of little things. You can hear us loud and clear, Jeff, right? That's excellent. So I mean, there's like 2 or 3 or 4 sounds I'm going to look at today. I'm going in with like, I should put that on, shouldn't I really? Yeah. I'm going in with like default. So starting from the ground up, okay. So you can see in there that you've got the default setting. So what I'm going to do is, straight away, first things first, knock the reverb off, okay. Now, we can have the amp reverb, and it sounds like this. Okay. I mean, it works if you want if you want that. But I'm kind of not looking to demo authentic sounds today. I'm showing you how I use this software because I get so many questions about it. And I've got a static video on YouTube where I go through all of these things. Hello from Sweden. Yeah, everything's great. Thank you very much. So I get a lot of questions. How do I use Amplitube 4? So that's what this video is about. And let me say from the start, I don't work for IK Multimedia. I get a lot of questions about licenses and downloads and how much this costs, and with all due respect, I don't know, because I don't work for IK Multimedia. I'm an IK Multimedia artist, and I use their gear, and that's basically as far as my relationship with IK goes, so right, we're reaching YouTube, we're reaching Facebook, that's all that matters. So let's go back to the software. So once again, first thing I'll do is I'll knock the reverb off. Okay, the amp reverb. So it's completely dry. Okay, now I think this is kind of a it's some kind of Fender amp. The guy who I work with, Paul Kaufman at IK Multimedia, the guy who's my contact there, said that this was one of the first amps that IK made for Amplitube, and it was before they made the deal with Fender. So it isn't named as a Fender amp, but I believe it very much is a Fender amp. Oh yeah, the spring reverb's great, Ali. It's bloody marvelous. It really is. So this is okay. Here we go. Would you like to see me in the bottom corner? Go on then. Right, you can see me fiddling on with this. No, you don't. Okay. Right. So first things first. I'll knock the reverb off. Second thing I'll do is I will take the treble back to about 4, and I'll also take the middle back to about 4. Okay, and then I'll go to stomp A, and I will add I will add the decomp in the dynamics. Okay, they always come on a little bit exaggerated, so I pull everything back. You know, I'm always pulling everything back. Yeah, AT, it's fantastic. It's fantastic stuff, Ali. So okay, so we've got the decomp there. So let's hear the decomp. So that's the straight amp with the decomp. Next, what's next? The next thing I'll do is, as I go to distortion, hold on to your hats. I go to the Overscream, which is a copy of the Ibanez Tube Screamer from, I guess, the late 70s and the 80s. And again, when I switch this on, everything's on full blast. So immediately pull it back, pull the drive back, and pull the tone back. So I put the tone about midday. I'll leave the level where it is. Now, just out of interest, you probably won't be able to see this, but I can control the important parts of the software. I can control from the APC here. So, for instance, I can switch the overdrive on or off, and I can increase or reduce the drive. Okay, so let's have a listen to what that sounds like now. Oof. Sounds like a valve amp. Ali, on this particular instance, I'm using the Focusrite Scarlett 2nd generation. I've got a universal audio thing there, which I use for the bigger, the mixing and all of that, you know, the full multi-tracks, but just for a stereo thing like this. I've got two laptops, and I've got one doing the stream and I've got one doing the audio, so they're connected through two Focusrites. Okay, so the next thing, let's have a look at the next thing. First things first, digital delay. Now, always put your digital delay first, so the reverb will be, you'll get reverb on the delay. Okay, so now hopefully you can hear that if you're listening to that in stereo. It's going, according to my headphones, it's going left, center, right, left, center, right. Yes, but I don't like that left, center, right. I just like left, right. Okay. The feedback's too long, so pull the feedback all the way back, so the feedback's, so you're only getting like 3, well really 2 or 3 are like, you know. Yeah. Mix possibly a little bit too much level, so I'll bring that back under 5. Yeah, maybe it's 4. Don't drop your plectrum, lad. Get it together, grandad. Okay. Also, right, okay, well I'll just get the reverb in. So, and the next is, I'll put the reverb on. Digital delay, reverb, there we are. Okay, so first of all, your reverb, you're going to get a lot of reverb. You're going to get a lot of reverb. Whew, that's a big one. should stick with the software rather than looking at me. Okay, so straight away you got a lot of reverb there, which I guess it's there to emphasize. It's the rack echo, Bob. It's the rack echo. So okay, now again I can control the reverb. I'm sure you can't see me turning these things, it doesn't matter, but I can adjust the decay time so I can have it really long, and I can adjust the mix. That's like a Brian Eno ambient thing that I'm going to do a little bit of later on. But for the purposes of kind of soloing, I have the decay time around about the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock mark there, and then I'll have the mix back at about, let's get the pointer out of the way. Yeah, about 8 o'clock. And then So there we've got reverb and delay. Too much delay. You've got a filter here. You've got a filter here which kind of gives a surrealness to the sound of the delay. I've moved it, so let's put it back. Okay. But I like the filter, but not too much, but a little bit more like that. Okay, so that's the reverb and the delay taken care of. Back to the stomp. So if I just turn up the overdrive a little bit, that's pretty much how I get my sound. Let me just kill that. So let me say first of all, that's kind of as far as I go with this. I don't pile stuff on and pile stuff on and pile stuff on and look for the magic combination of a multitude of things, because I use this software very much the way that I use live gear when I'm playing live with an amp. I've been using the Stoneham amps from Newcastle, and recently I'm using Thomas Blug's amps from Germany, and it's the same thing. If the amp has plenty of drive, if the amp has plenty of gain, then I don't use a pedal. Less is more. You got it. So that's my basic sound. We'll have a bit more overdrive if we want. One of the great things about the way Lance wires these guitars is he puts a tone control on the bridge pickup, which is something that Fender don't do. Yes, so there's another effect in here that I like to use. Very rarely there's an effect in here that I like to use, which is the Uni vibe, which you'll find under modulation, Uni V, which is the Hendrix thing. Hendrix, I think he started to use these things kind of around 68, maybe 69, I don't know. I love me Hendrix, of course, but I don't follow what happened, but very Hendrixy. But I only use that. I only use that sparingly, you know. I don't use that all the time. And I'll set it up so that I can basically switch it on and speed it up or slow it down, you know. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. You're picking up the strings off this vocal mic here. I'll just knock this vocal mic off so you can have the direct sound. So that's sound number one. So just to recap, you got the default amp, okay, you got the default amp, middle and treble on 4, so just pulled back a little bit, spring reverb off, put the bloody amp on, son, okay, spring reverb off, and I've got the decomp in the compression. Everything's pretty much straight up and down on that, and then I've got the over scream, which is obviously the tube screamer of the 1980s from Ibanez. This drive, seldom does it get up to that. You know, if you've watched me streams and I'm playing some of the ambient, more gentle stuff, the drive scarcely goes beyond kind of that, you know. Another thing I'll point out just before we move on from this is that it has an excellent wah-wah pedal, although I'm not set up with the where's the lad? There he is. I'm not set up with the foot controller at the moment, but basically go to filter, and the one that I always use is that. Obviously much better when you're using it with your foot. Yeah. Yeah. So that's amp setting number one. Hope you found that informative. I am kind of I'm trying to keep on top of your messages here. So okay, let's go back to default. Okay, it'll clear everything. There you go, back to the amp. Oh, back of that fender. Okay. Hello, Nick. Hello, Nick. So let's have a look at another amplifier here. I'll just unplug that. This next one I use a lot. I'll use that amp on all guitars. Okay. I'll use that setup pretty much on all guitars. Strat, Telly and Les Paul, you know. This next one is kind of what I'll use obviously when I'm streaming, you know. When I'm streaming I can't be changing amps all the time, so basically I have that one basic setting. And I just modify it, either pulling the overdrive back or whatever, you know. But if I'm kind of recording a song or a track, same thing, I will use different amps. So let's have a look at what we've got here. I'll go from here. Okay, let's put you back into here. Yeah. See, he's got Marshalls, AC30s, Mesa Boogies. Bloody hell, he got it all. Okay, this is the amplifier that I'd use for the Telecaster. I don't actually know. Amplitube 4 Live. I have used Amplitube 4 Live. Thiago, I have used Amplitube 4 Live in a studio setting, but not in front of an audience. At least not yet. Not yet. Right. So let's have a listen to this first of all. Let's see what we've got. I'm just going to mess about with this for a minute. You won't hear me talk for a moment, and then I'll come back to you. Instantly, Roy Buchanan, Danny Gattenland. Instantly. So, this is what I'm going to do. Take the spring reverb off immediately. I know Ali likes the spring reverb, and that's fine. I understand why, because it's great. And again, pull the treble and the middle back to about there. You know, it's not quite as harsh. It's not quite as jagged. Okay, 100 watt 6L6. I favour the 50 watt EL35s, EL34s, 50 watt EL34s. Okay, let's have a look at the stomp. Again, you see, I'm very much a creature of habit, like very much back to the decomp, pull it back to about midday. You know, no more than that. And let's have the over scream once again. Now the thing is, again, full on, always comes on full on. Pull that back, and the tone is always on full. Maybe that's what the professionals use. Maybe that's how the professionals do it. Oh. Oh, I like it. I like it. Now, same again. Let's get the delay on. See, I'm a creature of habit. I do the same thing over and over and over and over again. If you ask me to change it, I have a nervous breakdown. Okay, so again, left and right, feedback low, filter just up from halfway, mix like that. And then let's have the reverb. Okay, reverb's maxed out as usual, so we'll just pull it back a bit. Okay, sounds like this. I'm just going to mute the talk mic to get the strings off the sound, so you can just hear the direct line. Now that delay, I've got to tell you that I don't put the delay like that. That's just how it comes out when we. When you open any effect, it's kind of exaggerated to give you a flavour of what it is. Yeah, so whether or not you know it, I don't know. If I'm using this particular amp setting, see, that's a 4x12. Never in a million years will you find me using a 4x12. Apart from when I'm using a 4x12. With this particular sound, you can change. You see, this is how insanely flexible this thing is. Let's go to a 212 and a vintage open, right? Clearly a Vox AC30 kind of thing. Let's have a listen. The amp, Bob Matthews, the amp is, I don't know what that is, I'm afraid to tell you. I don't know what that's based on. But it says custom modern high gain, tube lead, and I put 50 watt EL34s in it. I would probably go, I have to say, a bit more, you know. You can chop and change to suit yourself. What I was going to say was, having just changed that, I've just lost that ever. Hang on. It's still there. So if you go to the cab, okay, now let's go back to that 4x12. The 2x12, the open vintage British, come on. You can change the speakers as well. So here you've got the left speaker and the right speaker. You can select which speaker you want to use. So, you know, let's go. Let's see what have we got here. Look, got all kinds of things in here, lad. You got it all. There's a greenback. Let's have a couple of greenbacks. Or shall we see if we can find a vintage 30? Let's have two greenbacks. I don't want to waste time sitting here. So let's have a listen to that with a couple of greenbacks and the Vox AC30 card with two greenbacks. Nice. But I would, if it was me, what would I do? I would get the 410 open vintage. Let's have a listen to that. That's more my cup of tea. Bit less overdrive. So again, Again, if I go to the overdrive, you can see that I've got the overdrive literally on 0. That's it with the overdrive off, and that's it with the overdrive on. So there's very little overdrive going on there. So that's kind of what I would use for the telly. Although I have to be honest, I wouldn't be using as much. Effect as that. More like that. Nice little bit of reverb. Okay, so that's kind of the telly sound. I hope you're all okay. Are you enjoying this? I'm so locked into this. I said it was going to be a Q&A, but what I'll do is I'll go through these. I'll just do a couple more amps, and then we'll stop and have some questions. You know. Okay. So that's the Telecaster done for. Thank you very much, Telecaster. Wonderful thing. One of the greatest inventions of all time. I would say on a level with the aeroplane. Fender Telecasters and aeroplanes. Two of the greatest inventions you've ever heard. You're loving it, Richard? Great. Okay. Do I change any amp settings using the bridge pickup? No, I'm very much a straight down the line. Set it, leave it. Everybody's happy. I've seen certain guitar players with a multitude of effects. There's one guitar player who I'm not going to name. He's the son of a genius, and I saw him doing this demo of his system, and he had like fucking thousands of effects, and it sounded like a guitar plugged into an amp. It just made no sense to have so much processing going on to basically sound like a Gibson guitar plugged into a Marshall amp. But anyway, you know. Okay, next amp. Let's see what we've got. I shall go into British Collection. Red Pig. Red Pig. I don't even know what a Red Pig is, but my word, this amp sounds good. You know what I'm talking about? That's fucking great. Okay, so let's have a mess around. It's probably a 4x12. Yeah, it is. So I'll go to the 212. I'll go for the 212 closed vintage. Yeah. I'm sorry. I did mean to keep the screen on more than me. So basically what I've done is I've gone to this amp called the Red Pig, which is in the British collection. Yeah. If you go here, select Amplitube 4, British collection, Red Pig, and I've just selected the Crunch amp. Okay. I'm sorry I was away from the screen when I did that. I am terribly sorry. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's do the usual. Little bit of decomp. I'm using the pad here, not the mouse, so it's a little bit tricky. Okay, pull the decomp back. Okay, if we want to really go bananas with an amp like this, once again, back to the over scream. Okay, tone back. And we'll put the reverb in, and the delay in. Again, I favour the left-right rather than the left-centre-right. Switch the BPM off. That's the beats per minute. So this is going to be a huge sound. This is going to be insanely set, an insane rock guitar sound. Richard, I wouldn't buy a pedal. I would buy software. After I have finished this demo, I'll take some questions. So let's listen to that. I forgot to bring the feedback down on the delay. So yeah, you're saying that's a Marshall Major, which is what Blackmore used in the early to mid 70s, I believe. So if we pull that overdrive way back, in fact, let's turn the overdrive off. Just listen to the amp. Overdrive's overdrive at the end of the day. That sounds great. This really is like the best bit of gear, Amplitube. You know, I'm not being paid to. I get an authorization for the software. That's what I get. I don't get any cash or money. All I get is an authorization for the software. But I mean it. It just sounds fantastic. It reacts like an amp. It's got that when you dig into the low notes. Lovely. Okay. Next amp. Final one. Hope you've enjoyed this little demo. It's always so many things. I've thought I'll do that and I'll do this and I'll do the other. Hello, Bert Smith. Dirty Harry, you like the sound of that Les Paul? Yeah. Where did me strap go? There it is. Yeah, so I was sitting there going, you should do this and you should do that. Because of lockdown, I've kind of done it. Yeah. So, as we've seen, we can change carbs. I don't know, Ali, if you're still watching. Oh, hang on a second. I did install the Leslie into this. Listen, it's got a Leslie carb. It's got a Leslie organ cabinet. First thing I'll need to do is clean the sound up a little bit. Okay, so yeah, possibly where's the gain? Pull this back a little bit. We're going to go to Frampton Comes Alive, yeah. When I remember to plug the bleeding guitar in. Yeah, so just quickly, I thought I would do the last section is going into a little bit of La La Land. So this is where La La Land begins. Let's have a look at that. So. So let's just have a look at this Leslie cabinet. What can we do with a Leslie cabinet? What should we do with a Leslie cabinet? Well, we can speed up and slow down all kinds of things. The mic distance. We can open the mic distance right up. Or so. When you're using a bloody... excuse me. This is the interesting thing now. Where's he put the mics? The mic distance, the mic distance, the mic distance. There it is. Okay. Yeah, 90 degrees. So let's put the mic distance at there. Okay, so let's have a listen to this, and I'm going to speed it up and slow it down. I'm also going to put more reverb and delay on it to make it sound more what's the word? Psychedelic. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. People saying that they like it. I think some entitled little spoiled teenager said he didn't like it, but who gives a monkeys about entitled spoiled teenagers? So let's go into some kind of far out sounds here. I'm going to go back to, well, I'll go back to the software so you can watch what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to, let's see now, what could we go with? Just something simple. Well, a Fender. Let's go with a Fender 410. Fender 410 always does the trick. Now there's a bit of grit in that, which will be coming from the compressor. Maybe if we bring the bloody hell. Well, why don't you do it? The reason there's grit in it is because I'm still using the red pig. Okay, bear with us, folks. Let's go back to no, I'll just go this way, because otherwise I'll upset everything. I'll upset everything and everybody, and it'll be terrible. Oh. I'm just going to go back to the default amp. There he is. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the effects here are going to be on 50-50, 50-50 mix on the delay and the reverb. I'm going to make the reverb, let's see, how big's that? It's pretty big. And I'm going to slow the delay down. Okay, so this is how quick the delay is. Okay, and I'm also going to lengthen the feedback. It's Amplitube 4, Ronnie. It's Amplitube 4. Okay, so you hear that buzz? Because I live near a railway line. I live close to a railway line, and that's what the buzz is. It's the overhead wires of the train. I just have to live with it. There's nothing else I can do. Okay, now there's another thing in the stomp here, which we can get rid of the overdrive because we're not going to use it anymore. We can replace it with into Amplitube, and we go to swell. Okay, so this swell pedal obviously I can use the swell on the guitar, or I can use a foot pedal or whatever. Stuart, I got to be honest, I don't know what they do in the deals. That kind of doesn't apply to. That's above my pay grade. If it's an upgrade and it's free, see if you can get it. But I don't know if it is for free. Speak to the guys at IK. So basically, just back to this thing here. This is like a volume pedal or a volume control, and the further to the right you have it, the slower the increase. So if you listen, The good thing with having the vocal mic on at this point is that you can actually hear me pluck the string and it's silent. And the sound of the guitar comes in after. So now what I'll do is I'll knock the vocal mic off and you'll just hear the guitar with this swell. So basically it starts silent and then comes up however fast you have it set. You got to be careful to hit each individual notes independently. Nice there. So that's pretty much it, folks. Okay, that's what I do with Amplitube 4 in a basic kind of way. Obviously, when I'm mixing, I'm tiny little turns here and there, like obsessive things that nobody else can hear but me. I sometimes wonder if even I can hear it, if I'm imagining stuff, But yes, it works for me. It works for me very nicely. So let me see, Jeff. Okay, I'm glad you like that, Jeff. It's wonderful, isn't it? It's a nice bit of gear. And I mean, there are other Guitar Rig 5 made by Native Instruments in Berlin is also fantastic. It's also fantastic. I think it's the one thing that gives IK Multimedia a run for its money. Universal Audio do some guitar software plugins. I don't know if they're as good as the IK, but let's not pan Universal Audio because they make some glorious plugins. Their compressors and EQs built on copies of vintage gear are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But the IK thing, you got so much to choose from. Leslie cabinets, 4x12s, 2x12s, 4x10s, 2x10s, 1x10s, wah-wah pedals, phasers, flanges, chorus pedals, the lot, And I think kind of it is standalone. It is standalone, Stu. You can use it as standalone. You select it as standalone. If you want to use it as standalone, you have to install QuickTime from Apple, whether you're on a Mac or a PC. If you install QuickTime, you can use it as standalone. I use it as standalone all the time. Oh, I beg your pardon. You're talking about Helix Native. Okay, I beg your pardon. So you got such an enormous amount of choice with this, you got such an incredible amount of choice. Yeah, I get you. This is yeah, Bob, I'll tell you what it is, right? I'll tell you what it is. Let me go back to the plugin. Okay. You select the amp here, okay? You got all kinds of presets, British collection, miscellaneous, you know. You got back, you know, you got all of these different amps, all of these different settings. Dirty Ballad. I'm not authorized to use that plugin. I say, that's not very fair. Amplitube Legacy. It's, you know, you go to the stomp thing, you select which pedal you want to use. It's surprisingly straightforward. It's surprisingly straightforward. And I think the choice is you've pulled the trigger. Good lad, Dan. You'll not regret it. If you have any questions, the choice is not about me using 70 different amps or however many bloody amps there are in there, or all these different, you know, 4x12 with 4 different cones in. That's not what it's about. I believe it's about catering for every guitar player there is. So you got a Hendrix guy, you got a Beatles guy, you got a John McLaughlin guy, you got a Van Halen guy, you got a B.B. King guy, you got a Johnny Marr from the Smiths. You know, anything, it'll do anything. It really will do anything. And there's stuff in here that I'll never use because it's just not my bag. You know, it's just not my bag. But it's somebody else's bag, so they can use it. It's fantastic. You do have a dual signal path. You see these 1, 2, 3, 4s up here. This gives you a dual signal path, and you can select separate amps and different amps. You see, there's 2 different amps you could choose. God knows what that'll sound like. Let's try it. There is more choice in there than you can shake a shitty stick at. And I think, like I say, it's about catering for every different kind of guitar player that there is. And if you're in a studio, if you have a pro studio, which is becoming a thing of the past more and more, doesn't matter which band comes in, you're going to have an amp setting. And so, I want an AC30, I want a Marshall head. Should we have a Marshall head before we go? Yeah, you probably will be able to get some kind of demo thing, Stu. Let's pull up a Marshall. Let's pull up a Marshall. Go back to default. And I don't use the presets. I always build my own stuff. Okay. I mean, look at that. It's an old Fender Twin. Roland Jazz Chorus, Fender Twin, Vox AC30. The Marshall head I go for is the British Tube Lead 2. Okay, so be warned. Richard, don't hesitate to get Amplitube 4. You get one pedal. How much are you going to spend on one pedal? You got it all in here. I don't know how much this costs, because I got it for nothing. That's all ungrateful little shit that I am. This has got absolutely everything in it that you need. If you've got an audio interface for your computer. So, Marshalls, pull the treble all the way back. That's what I do. I pull the treble in the middle all the way back like that. Yeah. Let's see what the carb is here. I think we'll go with the 212 closed vintage. Let's not bother with the compression. There's a one in here which is based on the Ambassador. No, it's not. It's the wrong one. This distortion pedal, the Ambassador, is based on the Marshal Governor pedal. Okay. Again, I'll get rid of that reverb. Sorry folks, I've gone to the wrong app. Just give us a moment to go back to this. Yeah, okay. Treble back, middle back, spring reverb off. 212 closed vintage cab. Let's see what we've got there. Sounds pretty Marshall-y. Now let's add some je ne sais quoi. Right, there's your Marshal Governor pedal. Great pedal. One thing that Marshall, like a lot of these companies, are great at doing is bringing out great products, discontinuing it, and then doing a reissue that nowhere near is as good as the original. So I'm going to put a bit of delay on it. Feedback, don't want it going on for an eternity. And we don't want to run into the beats per minute. And then I'll stick a bit of reverb on it. You're not looking at me, you're looking at the software. That's good, I beg your pardon. What I need is somebody to take care of the technical stuff for me. I need an assistant who doesn't mind working for free and makes cups of tea. Okay, let's hear that. Bit more reverb maybe. Okay, one last thing. I will go to this button and press that button. There you go. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how I do my live streams. Let's get rid of the little fella. Yeah, go for it. So, at the risk of absolutely destroying the live stream production, I have, as I've shown you, I have this this unit which I can control. This unit here, can you see it? Yeah, this is the APC 40, which I use to control delay amount, delay time, reverb amount and reverb time, and overdrive on, overdrive off, and overdrive amount. That's how I control the amplifier. What I do is I put backing tracks. I've got backing tracks here. Let's see, what have we got? Let's pull in a backing track. I don't want to pull in 20 backing tracks. This pad's hopeless, I hate it. And what I'll do is I'll play one for you. I'll play a tune for you. Play something nice, our Paul, as my mother would have said. Okay. Okay, so there you go. I've built a Marshall amp with an ambassador with some delay and some reverb, and I'm going to finish with a bit of a blues, and it goes like this here. I'll be streaming live. I might do a live stream tomorrow from the garden if the weather is what they say it's going to be. I'm going to do a live stream from the garden. Meanwhile, I'm going to play a blues, and then I'm going to say cheerio. There you go. Thank you very much. I'm going to stream tomorrow from the garden, maybe. And then I'm going to get back to the song Surgery. Because we're locked in. What else we're going to do? Nothing. I mean, there's so much shite on Netflix. And okay, folks, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you. Kingston Blues Jam. Kingston Blues Jam. Why have I not been to the Kingston Blues Jam? I've certainly been to Kingston. I know that much for sure. Yes, Kingston Blues Jam. Perhaps the next time I'm in Kingston I'll come down and have a go, if you will allow. So I've got a little thing lined up here that says good night, and thank you very much, everybody. That is Amplitube 4, according to me. Other people use it in other ways, I'm sure. Other people have different ideas, have different visions. Take a guy like Johnny Marr, or a guy like Brian May uses Amplitube 4 now. Satriani's using Amplitube 4. I use Amplitube 4 because it has something for everybody. That's the thing. It has something for everybody. If you're into rock, you open up the Marshal, you stick an Ambassador drive pedal in the front, and that's it. You're away. Change cabinets, change cones. You can change mics. You can change mic position. I mean, it's insane what you can do with it. But it's got a spanner for every nut. That's what we're saying. It's got a spanner for every nut. Okay. Kingston and Cambridge. Well, I'll come down to Kingston and Cambridge. If I'm allowed, invite me. If you say it's worth me coming down, I'll come down. I mean, I know these jams are just good fun, and I'm up for it. Okay. Thank you very much, folks. I'm going to press this button. Hopefully it'll do what it's supposed to do. I plan on streaming tomorrow from the garden, if the weather's as nice as it is today, which it's supposed to be even better. So we'll have an open air gig tomorrow. See you there.